Paw'dCats Sports.
Ayo, Cats fans.
Alex, you sound kind of sad. What's the matter?
We kind of suck.
Who are you talking about?
The Cats.
I was always under the impression that Cats licked more than they sucked. But hey,
The defense.
I could be wrong. I'm very sorry for your loss yesterday. We are gathered here today to remember the life of the 2025 Kansas State Wildcats football team. End of rant.
Welcome back to Paw'dCats Sports, where lavender pride meets gridiron grit.
Always win or lose.
I'm Ale Wildcat, joined by my co-host Benny Lay Wildcat. Today we're breaking down a game that's got the whole Wildcat Nation asking, what the just happened?
Couldn't have said it better myself. I agree.
Kansas State falls 24-21 to Army. And it wasn't just a loss, it was a lesson.
Hey, man, we're not the first team to lose to Army. Army has a long track record of success on and off the battlefield.
Well, are you comparing us to Japan?
No. I think that was more the Marines. Maybe with a little help.
Germany. We are not Germany.
No.
Or Japan.
We're not Ireland. Where are we going to start on this one? This is going to be a tough one. Let's try to expedite this as efficiently as possible.
We've got stats, quotes, and a whole lot of questions.
A lot of stats, a lot of quotes, a lot of wonderings.
You ready to dig in?
Hey, man, that's what cats do. They dig. They dig deep. Do they dig?
We're gonna start off.
That dogs.
We're gonna start off to the right here. We have our stats, other side.
Oh, yeah, over there. My bad. Woo!
This is, I went back and I tried to find something in that Tarleton State game to make me believe that Army was any kind of good, and I could not find it.
You were digging. The
only thing I can find is that this Helms guy didn't play last week. He plays this week.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough player, but the guy that was playing last week for Army still rushed for over 100 yards at quarterback. So,
yes, he did. It was the most rushing attempts by an Army quarterback in the history of that institution.
Yeah, 41.
That's a long history. 124 yards, 2 tutties. Longest carries, 16 yards, 41 times. Right down the throat of the mob defense.
We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. The only other thing I want to point out over here on our left.
Over there. Oh, that way.
That way now.
If you're watching on YouTube.
Nobody likes to lose. I'm a competitor. Go back to the drawing board and figure out where we went wrong as an offensive unit, and then band together as leaders and brothers. Defensively, guys on that side of the ball, they're going to come together. Biggest thing is, don't panic. I think there's a lot of better football for us that still needs to be played. Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I would agree with Avery, and he held himself accountable right at the beginning of the press conference, or he's being interviewed on the radio. I was listening on tune in to 95 or K-Rock or whatever. 95 might be Wichita. But anyway, he took accountability for that last bad throw. That was probably part him, part Joe Jackson on the 4th down, but it should never come to that. And talking about the outside noise, which has been a hot topic during this difficult stretch, I do not believe that we should be blocking out all the outside noise, because some of that's actually inside noise, and part of that noise is noise you should be listening to, because it's people who know what they're talking about and who have your best interests in mind. And I think the hardest part of being accountable is blocking out the outside noise that you should not be paying attention to. And those are the people who have ulterior motives and are just in it for your money or your attention or your time or a combination of those things. So it's important that the players differentiate between who they should be listening to and who they should not be listening to. You can make a case that like a younger brother or a parent is outside noise. That's not. And you can make a case that alumni on Twitter who are worried about their program that they've been rooting for 30 or 40 years or 50 years, that's outside noise. But some of it is because they're a little irrational, but most of it's not. And especially for those of us who have degrees from that institution, Kansas State University.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do when you're younger. You may not learn this until you get a little older, but in the workplace, just constructive criticism, it can be difficult for people to understand that it's not trying to break you down. It's trying to build you up. And that's what accountability is, man. Like you said, families should do it, friends should do it, teams 100% should always do it.
Yeah,
I'm wearing the shirt today.
People you can trust. That's the noise you should be taking in and reflecting and using it as fuel to get better and just learn from your mistakes. And that's a lot of coach speak and a lot of what you'll hear players say at the press conference after a tough loss, but it's true. And it's hard work, and that's what everybody's going to forget about on Tuesday and Wednesday when we're not playing. That's what the players are going to have to deal with in that locker room. And it's going to be a short week. So Friday night, going to be here quick.
All right, let's get surgical. Let's get real.
Yeah.
Segment 1, Kleiman's post-game presser. What are your thoughts on some of his quotes?
Oh boy, you have any written down, or should I just?
I've got one.
All right, what do you got?
This one is just a short one. Coach Chris Kleiman said the locker room is pretty crushed. We had a really good week of preparation, but the preparation didn't translate. So let's unpack that. Was this a coaching failure or player execution issue?
It's both, obviously. I'm not sure. The defense looked woefully unprepared. Someone made a good point on the socials that we rarely put 8, 9 in the box against a team that runs the ball. 70 times. That's not an exaggeration. They ran the ball 70 times.
No, they ran at 80.
80?
70 something. They ran like 83 plays.
Right. They barely passed it, but when they did, they passed it effectively. And 237 yards for the Army offense on 70 carries.
That's not even a good average.
That is, it's just unbelievable. And that's, the defense. The defense has shown every week that they, for whatever reason, are not capable of shutting down teams on 3rd and 4th and short. But you shouldn't have to if it doesn't get to 3rd and 4th and short. That's one of the big issues as well. There's not enough 3rd and longs that the opposing teams are facing. We had some tackles for loss, but not as many as you probably should have. A team's running the ball 70 times. I think we only had 4 tackles for loss. So, I'm just not a big fan of the 3-3-5. I don't know if there's any team that's been successful in the playoff that runs a 3-3-5. 4-2-5, obviously. You see that in the SEC with the better teams. That defense is not built to stop Army, and it's hard to prepare on the fly, fill all those gaps when you only got 3 down linemen, and you're just walking up your backers. But it's frustrating. Defensively, I'm usually a defender of Klanderman and his approach, but that was just very inexcusable. What happened last night?
Yeah, 100% inexcusable. We know exactly what they're bringing. We said it in the pregame. One-dimensional. I'm going to lean more towards the player execution on this, especially when it comes to their 3rd downs and 4th downs. Their 4th down efficiency, 6 for 7. 3rd down, 10 for 22. Yeah. Not like terribly great, but much better than us. And also, when you look over at a guy like Desmond Purnell and Austin Romaine, they have 10 total tackles in this game, but 8 of those for Austin Romaine were solo tackles. All 10 for Desmond Purnell are solo tackles. So we aren't gang tackling. And we're seeing last night that Helms was getting like maybe another 2, 3, 4 yards after getting hit. We just could not stop the guys and tackle them. We need to be gang tackling these guys, especially in a game like this, have more of that mob mentality that we just didn't see, right?
No mob mentality. Well, I mean, they're playing hard. They're out there for a lot of plays, like Coach said, but it should never come to that. And those linebackers, we could put 3 in the game at one time. we have 5 linebackers in our linebacking core that are serviceable. some of them didn't even see the field.
Yeah,
But the front three didn't get in the backfield much either. Only 4 TFLs, and they ran 80 plays to our 40. We thought it'd be around 120, and we were right. We just thought it'd be the other way around, 70-50, not 80-40 in favor of Army. And the most mind-blowing stat of all that I saw was 237-74 on our turf on the ground. I don't think I've ever seen that before, and certainly not against an FCS opponent.
And that's not our offense's fault by any means. They weren't on the field.
Yeah, we're finding ourselves in third and longs quite often as well against a team like Army, and I'm not sure why. Well, I know why.
Let's transition here because I got a good question. Kleiman said we didn't finish drives. Why is that happening 3 games into the season?
We're just not finding ourselves in very good spots. A lot of third and longs, and not a lot of third and shorts, or even second and shorts where you can open up that playbook. And again, by throwing the ball so much, it makes it hard to run play action on anybody if you're not getting the front guys to bite up a little bit, and getting them to lull to sleep. So it's difficult.
Yeah, let's hope we can get Dylan Edwards back. Hopefully, he'll be able to open some of that up. But
left tackle, running back, let's get them both back.
On that same token, I think you do got to play Devon Rice more at this point. That's just from what I'm seeing. And like I said, nothing against Joe Jackson. He's a good backup guy, but he needs to step it up and get a little more focused.
Yeah, he had 7 carries for 30 yards, 4.3 average, not a lot of opportunities. Let's see, catches, 1 catch, 5 yards. Had an opportunity there at the end to, give us a shot and drop that pass. So it was a little behind him, and Avery took accountability for that. But, at the end of the day, it's still an incompletion. You got to share responsibility.
What do you think about Kleiman's comment on about the special teams return, the touchdown?
I thought he probably regretted it as soon as he said it, but he didn't want to take it back at the moment. It discredits Nuremberg after he made that big mistake last week. I think you have to let your player know that you're proud of him responding, first of all, and to the media, which would be great. Build some confidence in that young man. And then, of course, you can't – how can you be proud of the defense when they're on the field for 15 plays? I mean, that you need – in that moment, I'm holding my defense accountable. And not any one player, the whole defense. They're converting way too much on third and fourth down. And that's because they're getting an easy not easy, but, relatively easier third and fourth down short situations. I don't recall a lot of third and longs last night. It makes it, again, very tough. He had an opportunity to hold the defense accountable in front of the media. He did not do it.
Yeah, and if it were me, if these guys are getting gassed on defense at the end of every practice, I'm taking them over to that hill that we have at the end. You're running more, boys. Sorry, get your conditioning in.
You don't have to run 80 plays if you can get the other team off the field. I'm looking at the differences in the trenches and size. And I'm just really confused why we can't stop this team.
We know exactly what's coming.
Team with that sort of size, I've seen us stop a million times. And I think that goes back to just not being fully prepared because we felt like we could just, stick with that 3-3-5 through this game and make it work. And it just didn't. And you're right as well that some of the players on the second and third level are coming up to try to fill those gaps, and they're just whiffing. They're not breaking down. There's fundamental breakdowns, and that's a big problem as well. But, hey, I'm not on the field. I'm an old man. Easier said than done when the Army's coming at you 70 times looking for nothing more than 3 or 4 yards. And they were successful.
This is a really statistical anomaly game because I tried to go back and find a game where Kansas State had under 20 minutes of possession, and I don't think it's ever happened.
Never. That'd be interesting to see if it has ever happened. You're right. 19:31 on the clock for the Cats, 40-29 for Army.
So that's crazy in itself. And then obviously Army has had the most carries by one single person in their history of the program with 41.
Yeah, we heard that from the coaching staff in the postgame, but you have to adjust
and
do something different.
And honestly,
3 drives with 10, 15 plays.
I don't know if this has ever even happened. We had 3 minutes and 1 second of possession in the second half.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's crazy, right? You don't see that. Avery Johnson was on the sideline for over an hour in real time.
Yeah, just taking a nap over there. He mentioned too. I saw an interview where that offense has to get up, and they're anticipating getting back on the field, and then Army's converts on third and fourth and short, and they got to go. And that adrenaline kind of settles, and then you can go through that again on the next series of downs, and then again, and again, and then you finally think you're going to get on the field, and the special teams kick return unit has a brain fart right there, front and center.
Yeah, so I get what Kleiman's saying, like, that hurt us, but in the moment he probably wants to take it back, right? It hurts our defense, yes, but it does not hurt
points.
The team. We got points. We did well.
How does scoring points hurt you and gaining a ton of momentum and going up 7 when you played like crap up to that point?
It's kind of like
Never does.
It's kind of like the NFL thing, like, oh, they scored too quick, and it's like, what?
That makes a little more sense, but I get what you're saying.
Because they're more professional, right? Like
it's a different kind of situation. But man, that comment was maddening, and I was listening to that, like I said, on TuneIn, and I'm not the only one who was triggered by that sort of comment.
He got a little.
They played hard and all this stuff. I get it. You're talking to your locker room, but hold them accountable, man. That's 3 straight. Yeah. 3 straight.
So not only Kleiman said this, but Avery said this. We need to stay together. So are we thinking there's some kind of internal tension going on?
Well, there always is going to be when you're going through this sort of difficulty. But ultimately, it may not be this season, but sometime down the road, it's going to build better character in a lot of the players who already have good morals and good values and try to live up to them. And you may not realize that for a decade or two down the road, but hopefully we'll know why we're going through this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm going to speak on this for just a second. Of course, we do not know if there is any kind of like internal tension going on in the locker room, but it is really interesting, like, to see Donovan McIntosh not on the field at all. Mm-hmm. So that may be one of those instances where we're holding him accountable and maybe he's got the wrong attitude. Just an assumption. Maybe there's something else going on. We don't know. So that's something that we would like to figure out, because that's a big detriment in our secondary yesterday.
Yeah, and you mentioned 23 as well.
Austin Newsome.
Not sure we don't know what's going on behind closed doors in that locker room. We can just assume, but hopefully there was nothing coming into the season that's now being blown out of proportion because of the losing.
All right, let's talk a little bit more about the game stats and breakdown segment 2.
Yeah.
Numbers. Army ran 82 plays. K-State ran 43. Army held the ball for 40 minutes and 44 seconds.
All hogs.
While K-State just ran the ball for 19-16. Just had the ball for 19-16 time of possession. And here I credit Army, man. The way to beat Avery Johnson, keep him off the field. And they sure as hell did that. They kept him off the field the entire second half.
Execute their game plan to perfection. And you're right. I think the most depressing part about this whole loss is just we didn't see our offense run many plays. And you can see that Avery is like, he's getting it. It's starting to slow down. And maybe he was just pissed off at the end of the game and he was just throwing some dimes. But it's disappointing to see him not get as many opportunities as he could have in this game. 25 passes. That ain't the air raid, man. We're looking for 45, man. 45 to 50. Maybe even 60 if we go to an overtime game. Air raid!
He threw for 172 and 1 TD on what felt like just 3 or 4 drives, which if he's actually out there for 2 or 3 more drives, he's throwing for 300, I think, pretty easily. He was on point. He had 1 pass that was a little short at one point in the game, but everything else was pretty on point.
I would agree in a normal type situation, if this game flows like we expected it to, you wouldn't even have that interception at the end either, because we wouldn't have been in that situation.
How does the team only run 4 offensive plays in the second half until the final drive?
Well, you don't get the ball first in the second half. That's the first thing. And then they run how many plays on that drive. And then, special teams, kick return, touchdown, and then
the clock got down to, I think, about 3 minutes on their first drive in that third quarter, which was just so demoralizing. And takes away any kind of momentum that we have.
Exactly. And then, of course, the front and center on kick return. Taking yet another opportunity away from Nuremberg or Sterling Lockett, if we ever can put him on kick return. You want to talk about those two special teams plays a little more? We already talked about the kick return for a touchdown. What about
I said it last week.
Turnover.
I said it before the game. I like Nuremberg. I think he's going to break more. I think he's a great returner. I love the enthusiasm out of the kid. I think he's going to be a good player.
Great speed.
Great speed. Great vision. Except for that, fumble. That was pretty bad. But that's that freshman mistake kind of stuff. But
that's one of those mistakes you make because you're playing aggressively, not playing scared. So I can live with that.
Yeah, we've talked about that. It's better if you're being aggressive, making those mistakes, like those, Bill 1.0 games.
Yeah.
And then, and Chris Kleiman talked about this, and I know you were a little upset about the onside, but I thought that was just like the luckiest, flukiest thing ever. And people are getting so mad about this, but like, you have to imagine you're in this guy's position, right? You probably run this kickoff return like 100 times every week, whatever, if you're on special teams, and you're expecting to go backwards, and you're not expecting someone to ever just launch out of the ball at you, right?
Boom!
And it hits his leg, and it's going probably like 90 miles per hour, right? So even
we're on the sports science on that one. We'll see.
Even if he is facing forward there, it's going to be difficult for him to react to that. Like, you probably could, right? Just to make sure it goes like your direction, but it just perfectly hits his leg, bounces directly towards them. It's just the flukiest, weirdest thing that could happen.
Yeah, I didn't hear like the Army coach's take on that or the kicker or anybody on their team if that was planned or not, but I can tell you this: I believe it or not, I have actually coached football at the high school level, not for like a particularly great program or anything. And that the 71 followers probably understand that already if you've listened to a few episodes. But this is something we would try to do because our offense was not great. We're a soccer school, right? And so we just get the soccer player to be the kicker, and this is the way we could try to get momentum. We would tell him to kick it as hard as he could at the guy who looked the most scared in those middle three on the front line, and it would work sometimes. Or you would see it on film where these guys would be falling back and not paying attention, and we would get away with just kicking it 10 yards and going and jumping on the ball. And we'd practice that. And it did work on many occasions. So what I'm getting at is this is something that high school teams will do on the JV level, and occasionally with bad teams on the varsity level, and it works. And that should never work at the collegiate level, ever. Your number one job on the front line of that kick return team is to make sure the ball's away before you turn your back and have your hands ready at all times. And clearly that we were not prepared for that. We were not prepared for that moment at that particular time. And it'll get fixed, but it's too late now. And it kept our offense off the field for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. It's a fundamental thing. It
seems
like
lack of discipline.
It seems like these guys are getting a little too in their heads and thinking too much and just need to step back. Fundamentals, positioning
needs to be simplified.
Yeah, just simplify everything.
So we can play freely and with confidence. And get the OC in the booth, man. Get upstairs. Go. Get upstairs.
All right, we got a lot of questions. We got to get moving.
All right, let's go.
Army converted 10 of 22 third downs and 6 of 7 fourth downs. Why couldn't the defense get off the field?
Well, because those third and fourth downs are short. And, if we can get them into third and 8, 9, 10, 12, then we're in a lot better spot. But we just didn't make that happen very often. And when we did, they converted a couple times.
No push from our line, our D-line today either that I really saw. There were a few, but it wasn't consistent. Especially when you know what's coming. Yeah. It's a little bit on the defensive play calling there, and we normally back Klanderman, but we're going to hold him accountable today. He needed to switch something up, make adjustments a lot quicker.
4-3. I know it's not 1995, but we can do it for a week.
And we played 4-3, right? Against Iowa State.
Trust your safety.
We played 4-3
A
against Iowa
little
State,
bit.
right? Like
Maybe that was prepared, but I doubt it. I have to go back and look.
75 rushing yards. Is the run game broken or just missing Dylan Edwards?
It's broken because it's not part of our. It's not
It
a
wasn't.
major emphasis in our overall philosophy.
And that may be because we're missing Dylan Edwards. That maybe they don't trust these guys. And that's another thing. Like I
Be
don't
ready.
understand.
And they should be trusted.
Right, I don't understand why we're kind of having those comments about like Nuremberg and some of the other things. It's kind of like discrediting the team.
Right. Avery's got to be a bigger part of the run game. 3 carries, 14 yards.
I'm not going to speak much on this because we just really didn't see the offense. So
It's a broken record. What we did see is the same.
We'd like to see
last week in week 0.
Yeah, we'd like to see something different on Friday, short week.
Maybe getting some of those guys back, getting healthy, like you said, up front and the backfield will help.
All right, the last thing on the game stats and breakdown, I'm just going to say that we got out-toughed by a team that lost to an FCS, Tarleton State. Carson Helms, is that his name, Carson? Helms, the quarterback. He's toughest guy on the field last night for the entire second half.
And Colin Madison had the drive of the century defensively there. Drive.
So they wanted it more. Yeah. And it seemed like the Cats were gassed for sure.
And go ahead.
And Austin Romaine, he looked like he wanted it, but he was just kind of over pursuing a little bit. Didn't expect some of the speed out of Helms. I think he could have got Helms in the backfield on some critical plays, but couldn't get there.
Maybe we weren't prepared to have him playing 80 snaps, and we weren't ready to rotate those backers in and out a little bit more earlier in the second half. But I'd have to go back and look at film to see how that was playing out.
Segment 3, mental state and leadership. Avery Johnson said if we start to snowball and point fingers, this season's really going to tank. That's a quarterback calling out the culture. Is Johnson emerging as the vocal leader this team needs?
Yeah, I think he is. He's still poised and calm and remains confident. And you could tell, like, even though he's by nature probably not a fiery guy in front of the microphone, kind of a quiet leader, you could tell that he was fuming. There was steam coming out of the ears and the nostrils a little bit during the presser last night. So I think he's emerging well, and he's right. I mean, the only finger you need to be pointing is at numero uno. So turn that thing around and hold yourself accountable. So no one else will have to.
Yeah, just buy in. Buy into the fundamentals. Buy into blocking. Mm-hmm. Buy into execution. Buy into your positioning, your assignments. We've talked about this. It's a simple game when you slow it down a little bit. And if you really love the game, but if you sit there and you take everything negatively, that's just going to hurt. It's going to be like a cancer, and it's going to spread to everyone else. Right. That's never anything you want on a team.
Yeah, don't take it personally. Just get better, not bitter, and move forward.
That's
Avery said as much. So
yeah, you need to channel that energy and put it out into the football field for sure.
Hey, they also interviewed Stan and Wyatt interviewed Ilalio after the game as well, and I thought Ilalio. Apologies, I'm sure you're like our last name has been butchered a few times, but his comments after the game I thought resonated with me the best, and his attitude post game I thought was the best of anyone that I heard last night. That hopefully that can resonate with the rest of the defense, especially those guys up front who had a tough night.
Yeah, let's hope so.
And you said buy-in, that term buy-in. You can buy in if the message is, leading you in the right direction. But right now that's up for debate, and we'll see the next couple weeks. We're either gonna recover and go 8-4, or we're gonna snowball and miss a bowl game.
8-4, damn.
Hey man, I mean we've already lost 2, we've won 1, so you're looking at going 7-2 the rest of the way. That's gonna be tough, but it's possible. It's possible. It's possible to go 9-0 the rest of the way.
I think
starts on Friday night
yes.
Out in the desert.
I think you already kind of mentioned on the defense, the emotional anchor could be Ilalio. Mm-hmm. Who else do you think could be that emotional anchor on this team who's chewing the tail and holding guys accountable?
It's got to be probably Toby or Stufflebean, those guys up front. They've walked the walk with their performances. Those are the guys I would listen to if I'm playing up front on defense.
Yeah, I think if you're a guy like Austin Newsom, you got to be getting chippy out there and show him what you got, because you only getting the two plays, two snaps,
Yeah.
whatever it was, however many snaps he was in. He needs to be in more, because he absolutely shredded a guy last night, and it was very apparent when it happened. And so I don't think he should be on a snap count, especially if you're playing. He needs to project that.
Yeah.
He needs to show him what's up out there in practice and be like, I need more time.
Yeah, you're right. I'm wondering what's holding those two guys back, him and McIntosh. We'll see how that plays out.
And then in the back secondary, it's got to be Zayshawn Rich or VJ Payne. And I just don't know if VJ Payne is that guy. I think Zayshawn Rich may have to step into that role.
They are struggling back there, no doubt.
Zayshawn is playing well. Zayshawn's playing well. We haven't heard his name, which is a good thing for a cornerback. But in the secondary, the safety's not playing as well.
So you'd like to see those guys come up and make tackles if they're going to run the ball 70 times. Obviously, they're not going to get a lot of pass breakups or defended passes or interceptions. But let's see. We'll look at the tackles for these guys on defense. I don't think a lot are coming from the edges. Newsom had 2.
And then I think on offense, it's got to be a lineman. There's got to be a lineman to step up.
2. Yeah, Gunnar Maldonado 2, Clemens 2. So Toby 4. But half a TFL. We only had 4 TFLs on 80 runs. Or 70 runs. That's worrisome.
Scary.
Yeah. But hey, they were ready to block all 6 guys up front every play. And rarely did they lose yardage. That's definitely worries me moving forward.
How do you rebuild belief after a loss like this? I'm going to take this one. I think you got to stick to the fundamentals. You got to trust the guys around you. You just got to hold each other accountable, and you got to shut guys up that are causing any kind of problems, that don't believe, don't have the attitude. Tell them you need to get better. You are the problem if that's the case.
Yeah, in a more tactful way than that. But
no, Avery is fiery.
Yeah, I would agree.
Make them scared. Put that fear in them. Now, if you're another player, right, like, if you want to hold somebody accountable and they're really being, like, terrible attitude and not giving the effort, you get in their face, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
But, I mean, if they're giving the effort and you want to do it a different way, you want to be like, hey, man, I saw you did this wrong, coach them up. But if they're not giving the effort, then get them off the field or get in their face.
Yeah, I was going to say, to answer your original point, Avery talked about it's just a 1-game season, and that's how we have to respond to this. We gotta try to flip the script on Friday night, and that'll go a long way to silencing the haters, which I've been accused of being one of those. Let's not mistake hate for passion. I don't hate anything about anyone in that locker room. We're on the coaching staff, or anything about that university, so that we call home, and one day we'll get back to. So let's win Friday night.
Yeah,
you don't have to win by 20. Just win by 1, and that'll silence everybody. Somebody on Twitter said that we are 3 points away from being 0-3, but we're also 6 points away from being 3-0.
Very true. And I just want to make it clear to everyone that's listening out there, if anybody's listening.
72 people at least.
We don't know if there's any locker room issues happening.
We have
we're
no
just
insider information. None.
Yeah, our only information is based on the quotes from Chris Kleiman, Avery, the post-game pressers, and what we see on the field.
And we take money from nobody.
Yeah.
We don't have any sort of agenda.
All right, segment 4, injury impact. Cure and Dylan Edwards. Colby McAllister.
And?
Whitaker.
And?
Tomaszewski.
And?
George Fitzpatrick.
There you go. Bingo.
Ryan Davis.
Not much news on Fitzpatrick yet. Hopefully we can get him back at some point. Obviously his health is very important, as are all these guys. But.
So on covers.com, I saw that they posted...
Covers.com, huh?
Yeah, this is the only thing that's been given any kind of updated injury list for me. Lincoln Cure, they had him listed as probable, but now he's back to questionable. Dylan Edwards, questionable. What I kind of want to speak on is Colby McAllister, because we need him and McIntosh in the secondary desperately because VJ Payne and Wesley Fair are not performing great right now. And obviously, I think this Tomaszewski guy and Ryan Davis, they're a big piece to our defensive line. This Tomaszewski guy is supposed to be pretty good. And it probably would have helped us out to have some fresh legs on the field last night, so that's rough. And Whitaker, Austin Newsom.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see a breakdown of the defensive players and their percentage of their snaps that they're taking.
Yeah, because these guys, these actually are critical pieces to our defense on each level. So that is, concerning that we have these injury problems so early in the season.
By my count, it looks like 22 players factored in had at least one tackle, or 21 players on defense. So, but yeah, percentages for what percentage of the snaps they took would be really interesting to see how they rank. And that's something that I would hope they'd be reviewing during their quantitative analysis of this big L we just took to the armed forces.
And this just goes back into the play calling and personnel. I don't think we have the personnel figured out yet, and I don't know why. I don't know what's going on in the coaching end that we can't figure out who we need on the field when we need them and how much they need to play. Like I said, I believe Austin Newsom needs to be out there more. You can get Desmond Purnell. He's a great experienced guy. Gabe Powers is quick. He needs to be on the field more. You got Gunnar Maldonado, who seemed like he was still on a snap count. He's a safety. He needs to be on the field more, especially when Wesley Fair and VJ Payne are playing the way they are. I don't know why McIntosh is out. That's a question that needs to be asked. He had the best performance out of any player on the field in the first game, and then we saw him on a limited snap count in the second game, and now he's just non-existent this last game.
Mystery. Like a fart in the wind, as they would say in Shawshank.
It's like he just threw on the invisible cloak from Harry Potter or something.
Yes.
Gone.
Gone.
So yeah, that's concerning. And I think the D line is fine, right? The D line is playing pretty solid. Last night they could have played better.
As best they can.
But, maybe some fresh legs will help that out a little bit as well. When do you think we're going to see Cure?
It's a good question. My first thought when you mentioned him earlier was that maybe he'll just end up redshirting, especially if we lose a couple more games here in the next few weeks. We might not see him much more than just the last 4 games of the year.
I don't think you can do that. For me, I think that's a terrible decision. I think you got to get him on the field because you don't want, with the transfer portal in the new age of football, you don't want a kid like that to be like, oh, well, we suck. I'll move on.
Seems like a high character guy who's in it for more than just himself, and maybe he understands the bigger picture as far as 16 goals and so on.
Well, I get that, but it's also a job now for these kids. It may not be necessarily about, it's a lot about high character, but it could be more about if I go here, I could help out my family, right? Like if I make the correct decisions now for my future, this playing at Kansas State, it's just like Nico Iamaleava, right? He's at UCLA. He may have just ruined his chances of going to the NFL. But if he stays with Tennessee, he's at least going to get drafted.
Yeah, exactly. Make a roster probably for a few years.
And that's and that's difficult for these kids, right? They're still young and they're probably talking to their families constantly, and maybe some guys that are agents that are talking in their ear as well.
And there's some unknowns. Not every player knows if they're going to get to that league or not. There is value in a degree. So,
yes.
Sometimes you take that short-term gain and you sacrifice in the long run, and vice versa. So that's tough for these guys to make those decisions. That ain't easy, but only they know what circumstances they're facing. Hopefully, they're weighing those variables appropriately.
Let's not sugarcoat it. This team is 1-2 and trending down.
Nausea. I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Why does the defense collapse late in halves?
Swallowed it.
Fatigue or scheme?
Disgusting. Fatigue or scheme? It's both. But the scheme's first problem. And the scheme leads to the fatigue because you're on the field for 100 million plays.
Sure. Yep. 100% makes sense. Is the team trying to be something it's not?
Maybe, because I might go back to the overthinking point. Just try to simplify things and quiet the voice in your head a little bit. Lock in on your responsibility each play, and don't worry too much about the guy next to you. Trust him.
And our special team's still a liability, despite the Nuremberg 99-yard return.
Yeah, they are definitely a liability. We special teams you the most touchdowns since 1999. That stat that's cute, but that's very cherry picked at this point.
Hey, man.
26 years ago.
Elrod. Luis had a great game.
Luis!
Okay. This kid is knocking the ball straight through the uprights, right in the middle every time. Looks beautiful.
Yeah,
I don't know why we don't utilize him more.
I wish we would have in week 0 a couple times, but hey, that's in the past. We got to move on. Hey, one thing we did do though, we didn't go for it on 4th and 1. We just took the points because you should be able to trust that you can beat Army by 2 or 3 scores or more. And then Coach Kleiman did talk about how he's disappointed we settled for field goals, but you should be able to overcome it. At the end of the day, it's points. 2 Elrod field goals equals 1 touchdown instead of going forward on 4th down and turning the ball over on downs.
All right, let's get to our grades. I'm gonna hit my grades. You're gonna hit your grades.
Yeah.
All right, quarterback.
F-. No, not quarterback. Overall. Don't take that personally, Avery. F-.
Quarterback, I'm going to give him a B-. He probably moves to an A if he gets the ball more. 15 for 25. There's probably like 5 drops, which is not good.
I give him an A.
Yards TD.
Yeah. I give him an A if he throws that ball to Jackson on the other shoulder and we go down and win that game. But because of that, I'll give him a B.
I don't discredit him for that because there was the pass to Tibbs before that should have been caught and not fumbled. So
that's tough though when you got that boy over the middle who laid the wood on.
Yeah, he did.
Not as much on Tibbs as he did on number 1. That was rough. Jace got knocked all the way to another planet, maybe all the way to on that ball on the sideline that last drive.
Running backs, I gotta go a D+, man. We didn't see anything from 74 yards rushing.
Yeah.
It dropped pass by Jackson, which, was kind of a bad throw by Avery, but still catchable on his hands.
Yeah, Devon and Joe, I'm with you on that one. Somewhere in the D range, a little below average, but not a lot of opportunities. 13 opportunities, that's it. And then a couple passes, a couple targets.
Offensive line, D, still sketchy. Still, there was one play we were watching last night, and Keaton was like, "What happened, dude? They just ran right through." I thought they were running a screen, and I was like, "Dude, our D line just lets them run through sometimes. I don't get it, man. Avery's got to be under pressure half the time, under duress."
Yeah, the O line lets him through sometimes. It does. Maybe he was confused. Maybe he thought it was a screen call. But I think they did a little bit better job of protecting Avery and giving him a chance to throw the ball downfield.
They did a little bit better. I will give them that. It's not
no one was frozen out there.
Yes.
On the right side, just wondering what's going on.
Yes. Gave him more time to throw the ball in some situations.
I'm on the football field.
And Avery's ball did look on point. Point on those 2 passes.
He looked very confident throwing the ball last night when he had his chances.
Wide receivers, I'm going to give a B-, C+ range. They're really good. They really show flashes, but secure the ball, catch the ball. Yeah, hands on ball, fundamentals.
I would agree. This has the potential to be one of the best receiving cores, top 3 that we've had in a long time with Tibbs, Bradley, and Brown. And they're playing better than expected, but you're right, the drop C's, man. Just let's get on the jugs, man. Put the diamond up, get those hands out. A couple of these are getting into the body. This is fundamental stuff. It's discipline related. Just got to get those reps and gain some confidence. But the rapport is there. It's getting there. And I think I've been very pleased with Tibbs and Bradley, especially. They've been serviceable. And at any time, I think either one of them can go over 100 yards.
Defensive line, linebackers, secondary, I'm probably going to go D+ across the board just because they were on the field the whole second half. Yeah, no disruption, no sacks, worn down by 82 plays. Purnell, 10 solo solo tackles, but couldn't stop third and fourth down runs.
Right. I get the sacks thing, not having any sacks because they're not dropped back to pass a lot. The tackle for loss number is very, very troubling. And, it's great. You got 10 tackles, but that's because you have 80 opportunities. So um, that's just more indicative of how we're not getting them shut down on third and fourth down. And I think
No,
we're not
no,
also giving ourselves a chance to, go third and 12, third and 15, etc.
no turnovers either.
Yeah, no forced fumbles, obviously no picks. They didn't have to throw the ball much.
I think
When they did, they threw it very effectively. Very effectively.
for me, it's that not having the dog mentality. Need the
That trick,
dogs.
that trick play was inexcusable. There are 5 dudes coming up towards the line of scrimmage, and this
Oh, yeah.
guy's just sneaking out back like he's 15 years old and it's 2 a.m. at his parents' house, and he's trying to get over to his friend's house or something to go TP a house or throw some forks in a yard or something. He's just gone, man. Just gone. Nobody even noticed. Straight over the top.
Yeah, we needed more of the 4 or 5 guys just piling on their runners. And I'm okay with the one play over the top. I mean, but against Army, you need to know that that's coming. You have to know that that's coming at some point. I thought it was going to come again eventually.
Hey, you've been on the field so long, it's start not thinking straight, getting frustrated.
Yeah. Special teams, interesting. I will give a solid B here if it weren't for that one play.
Yeah, if not for
Just
Norton's
'cause-
return, I'm going F on that one.
Well, Nornberg's kick return, good. Luis, great.
Yeah, I didn't think about Luis. Let's upgrade that.
So just that
Not enough.
stupid
Not a
fluke
failure.
kick.
Just that one play was a failure. The rest of it was pretty good.
C,
still needs work.
plus. Still needs work. Yeah, C plus.
Yeah, that's an excusable front line.
I will say game management not necessarily great with burning the timeouts early that we could have used. Became very critical in that game.
I think the whole game boiled down to us not being ready on defense. Allowing them to run 80 plays, 82, whatever it was.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
Not ready.
All right, I'm not going to ask that question because we know what you think, but on to segment 7, betting lines and the fallout. K-State was a 17.5-point favorite. They lost outright. Don't listen to me. I'm a homer for Kansas State.
Yeah, somebody mentioned online that we have failed to cover the spread. I think 8 of our last 9 games, maybe, dating back to last season, starting immediately after the KU game last season, I think, or maybe the KU game.
And before that, I think we were one of the better teams in the country at covering the spread. Ever since we lost to Houston, and Matt mentioned this today, we have been falling apart.
Yeah, and it's close games, man. I also saw online somebody had posted the old Texas State champs T-shirt from 2011, and go back and look at those scores. Any of those games could have gone the other way, and that season's 500 season instead of 10-3.
Is Vegas overestimating K-State's talent or underestimating its flaws?
Maybe underestimating the flaws. We'll see if we can get those flaws corrected. Still got a lot of opportunities left.
Are bettors going to start fading the Wildcats until they prove something?
Yeah, no doubt.
Take
Those undies, man, because they're dirty.
I'll probably fading. I'll be fading the spread. That's for sure.
Yeah, we did not cover, and I think we were under yesterday.
All right, what needs to be improved? Let's fix what's broken.
Well, going back to that 45 points was under, right?
46.5 maybe?
Yeah, it was 45, so it was under again. What needs to be fixed moving forward?
Yeah, should we lean into Johnson's arm more and abandon the run-first mindset?
Try to just simplify things and come out with more joy and take the pressure off yourself. Maybe some good things will happen down there in Arizona on Friday. But it's, like I said, it's going to come real quick. It's already Sunday night. Just a few days to prepare, then you got to fly to the desert.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we need to simplify schemes. I think we need to build confidence in any way we can. I like being aggressive and throwing the ball deep on that third down and the fourth down. Gotta figure out a way to stop the bleeding yards on third and fourth down defensively.
Yeah, that
or 4-3.
Just getting some pressure on the quarterback up front, and, making sure they don't get to third and fourth and short. 15 times a game.
What's one thing that must change before Arizona?
Not allowing teams to have 29 opportunities on 3rd and 4th down.
Yeah,
And converting on 16 out of 29 of those, over 50%. That's got to change.
All right, let's end with hope and a challenge.
We got hope. I got hope.
Is this still a bowl-eligible team?
Hey, man, if you have hobbies, you got hope. Because you can always go do something else besides watch football all day Saturday and hinge all your emotions and bets on the outcome of a football game being played by 18 through 23-year-olds. So let's keep things in perspective, and maybe now would be a good time to go out and golf on Saturday when everyone else is inside complaining about their football teams losing.
Yeah, I've learned to accept that through my years. It's just a football game, man. 18, 23-year-olds. They're trying their hardest out there.
Let's get as passionate about maybe our kids' education as we do about what's happening on the gridiron on Saturdays. Oh, and we didn't mention the 2-year-old in the end zone. Can we talk about this for a second before we go? That needs to be fixed. 2-year-old girl that was crying.
That's a kid.
I have an idea. If Gene listens to this, and if he does, that's ridiculous. We're 55 minutes in. But Gene, maybe if we have a family stadium, right? So we should make a section that's for families only, and make it section 21, and then every other section is allowed to be as rowdy as possible. But also, I understand now why parents have their little babies wearing those noise canceling headphone things, earmuffs during games. So prayers up for the poor girl who had a rough night. Hopefully, next time she sees a touchdown by the Cats, she won't be so upset. Maybe she knew. Maybe she knew what was about to come. What was about to happen.
Psychic baby.
Yeah, she could see the future.
2 more questions.
Mm-hmm.
Is this still a bowl eligible team?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we got 9 games to go, and we've already won 1. So let's get 5 more out of 9. Should be easy to go 5-4. I mean, excuse me, not easy, but let's hope we can go 5-4 the rest of the way, and that's what it's going to take. Right now, we'll see. At the beginning of the season, I thought that was going to be very simple, and now it's going to be a challenge.
9-9. The last 9.
9-9.
9-9.
Is that like 7?
9 wins. 9 wins.
9 wins.
9 wins out of the next 9.
We're going to go 9-4 again? Is that what's going to happen?
No. That'd be 10-2.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, Cat fans, we'll be back later this week with pregame for down in Tucson. Get ready for Noah Fifta. Look at those stats, man. He was lighting them up last weekend. Woo! We better be ready. We're going to get cooked.
Yep. 3 games in, and the Wildcats are at crossroads. Identity, leadership, and execution. It's all on the table. Stay loud. Stay lavender. Stay locked in.
Mm-hmm.
The season ain't over, but it's time to wake the up.
And hey, enjoy some time at the game with your family. All right? Get off your phone. Don't worry so much when, Arizona scores a touchdown or whatever. Maybe we'll shut them out. But just be present in the moment and enjoy those moments, because that's what it's about as well. But let's get a damn W, man. Let's win the damn day.
Yeah, the message I have, stay locked in. Channel that bad energy into good energy.
Mm-hmm.
Stick to the fundamentals. And try to beat the out of Arizona.
Let's go Cats. The ones from Kansas.
Let's go Cats.
See ya!
Later.